Hey, BJJ fans, have you ever heard of the term using your strength over your technique in jiu-jitsu is killing your BJJ black belt? If you've ever heard that, or if you've ever wondered, why is my coach always saying, don't use strength, don't use strength, don't use strength? Stay tuned to this episode. We're going to talk about that next. So the term strength is killing my BJJ black belt. Well, first of all, let's talk about something for a minute. Anybody who's been following my channel for any given amount of time, there's about 800 subscribers on this channel right now. Not a ton, but a good number, more than I thought. Again, this channel was actually designed for my academy, for students that wanted to look back on the class technique of the day. It was never really meant to be like a podcast on jiu-jitsu for the internet, but it's grown and weirdly, like right smack in the middle of me doing those jiu-jitsu techniques, I developed this neck problem. And I don't know if you can tell, but I'm still dealing with substantial deficits with my left arm. In fact, I call this the Bas Rutten arm. If anybody's ever seen Bas Rutten's right arm on him, this is my left arm. He's got a similar situation where he's got a concave area, and that's because the distal head of the bicep, where it meets the forearm muscle, has atrophied to a point where it's gone. Like if you look at your other arm, you've got this little muscle that comes out here and the distal end fills that in. And when you've got a neck injury that shuts off that nerve root that feeds the tricep and the bicep, it doesn't take very long for that to atrophy to a point where it's noticeable, and secondly, you can feel the difference. In fact, right before my surgery, I could no longer lift my computer bag with my left arm. So nerve injuries is no joke. So why do I bring that up? Well, first of all, it's pretty noticeable, but it's coming back. It's coming back. We're working on it. It's getting better. So it's a blessing that I even have function in my left arm. So I'm not going to complain about it. But it does give me some credentials. 19 years into jiu-jitsu, starting in 2008, I used a lot of physicality. I used a lot of my pure strength. This was before my neck problem was actually showing any real signs or symptoms. And when I didn't know what to do, when I didn't have an answer for a technique, I just used sheer strength to try to get out of it. So I understand that using strength and physicality and athleticism has a use. It has a use. It gets you out of potential problems when you don't have an artistic, technical, strategic answer for either preventing the problem or a way out of it. I call it a hack code, right? I call it a jiu-jitsu hack. You can use that strength and you can use that physicality until you can't. When I think about it from a fighting perspective, all you need to do is come down on your shoulder, break your collarbone, dislocate a shoulder, tear the labrum, and you no longer have an arm. No strength in that arm anyways. You're just going to roll over and give up the fight? Or are you going to use your other attributes, your guard, your one good hand, your mind, all of the other training to be able to survive that fight? So when I look at that term, is strength stealing your BJJ black belt, I think what they're trying to say is, when we rely upon our strength, instead of learning how to use our Brazilian jiu-jitsu, we're creating jiu-jitsu debt. So every time I use strength and physicality to get out of something or to finish a technique, I'm taking a loan out. I'm taking a loan out and I'm gathering jiu-jitsu debt that I need to have in the bank to get my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, to really become the martial artist in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You're going to win that round. You're going to be able to achieve, I guess, some type of win for that round. But in the long game, in the long haul, am I building up this habit of running out of jiu-jitsu in a sparring match and then going into jiu-jitsu debt by charging the jiu-jitsu card using strength to explode out of something? And that can become an impediment to growing in your Brazilian jiu-jitsu, to using good frames, to maximizing efficiency, make my frames, to move my body, to think a few steps ahead, to have combinations, to have good defenses, good escapes, good setups, setting traps around my opponent so that I can trick them into virtually doing the work for me and then finishing with a very high efficiency move that completes the tap out, the submission. I think that's what they're trying to say. Strength in and of itself is not the enemy. Being physically fit, I mean, this whole year and a half, almost 2 years of recovery from my neck injury, I weightlift every week. I'm really trying to build back functional strength again so that I can live life well and serve my family, my wife, my children, my grandkids, have fun out there, functionally be able to do things. To have the strength on top of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is just almost like the cherry on top. If you've got good Jiu-Jitsu and you're strong and you're athletic, you're going to be monstrously dangerous, right? But my passion, my goal is to take people that maybe were on the short end of the stick physically, or maybe they're aging, or maybe they've got chronic problems. And so therefore their jiu-jitsu cannot be based on strength alone and physicality and athleticism. My goal is to help them still be able to defend themselves, protect others, and survive, if not win a fight, when it counts. So there's my slant on using strength over Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu technique. Until next time, stay on the mats. Take care.
No one is available to take your call. Please leave a message.